Okay, so we have the part from the last time we did this, right? So what I want you guys to do, right, is go ahead and click on that surface, and let's make a sketch on that surface, right? And then what we're going to wind up doing, and you don't have to click over, what we're going to wind up doing is using the hole command to make our holes, right? And we want to do that because all the associated data gets pulled in when we do dimensions, right? So when we set up our hole via the hole command, then it will pull in automatically when we do dimensions on our drawings, right? So we're gonna go back to the sketch, right? And the way the hole command works is you're gonna drop points wherever you want a hole, all right? So I'm gonna want 2 holes, right? And then I'm just gonna drop it in. We'll locate it via dimensions here in a second, right? But I am going to say, hey, they're going to be vertical to one another. So I'm going to let that, see the dotted line, that's going to make a constraint there, right? And then I'm going to say, hey, with the dimension, I'm going to come from here to here. We're going to say, let's see what 1 inch, nope, that's too much. Let's do 0.75. Let's do this one, 0.75, same thing, right? I'm going to say those are always equal, so I'm going to say that's going to be equal to that, just because I want them to always move together. So I'm going to make that one a function, right? So if you just say equals and then click that dimension, right, that's what's totally going to make those the same. And then we're going to say, hey, the same amount over. So I'm going to say dimension, right? I'm going to go from here to here, and then 1/2 inch, 0.5. Lovely. All right. Oops, and those are not vertical. I thought it would do the thing, but we will say, hey, we want these to always be vertical to one another. That is vertical to that. And then now that's tied together forever and ever. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit finish, right? And then we're going to go to the hole command, right? And so we're going to click that. And so it's gonna pull up some default hole, right? And we don't know, so we need to set what we're going to try to do. So we're going to say, right? We're going to say that we're making. So here's the types of holes, and this is what we just talked about in the lecture, right? We got just a simple hole, right? We have a clearance hole. We have a tapped hole that has threads in it, and then we got a tapered hole. We're not going to be doing any tapered holes. And then we can also say, hey, we don't want any, we just want the hole, or we want a counter bore, or we want a countersink. Spot face is, you just need a little tiny flat, because your object is curving there, and I need a little flat to put my my bolt head to be parallel to, right? And then so you can see the size here, right? You can see the type that you're doing, right? If you're doing a standard hole, you're just going to, you can put in the, just the size, right? But if we come over here to clearance hole, right, or a tapped hole, right, it's going to switch and have where you're laying out the threads, or you're laying in what kind of fastener that you're going to wind up doing. Let's do a tapped hole, right? So we're going to add a screw, right? We're going to screw into this to hold something together, right? And we're going to, since this part is in inches, then we're going to stay with the unified screw threads, which is mostly freedom units, right? And then we're going to select the size. All right, so if we go to the size, let's do a 1/4 inch. That's a nice size. Yeah, let's go bigger. Let's go 1/2 inch. All right, so we will do a 1/2 inch. All right, so 1/2 inch, 13 threads per inch. We could change this if we want something non-standard, but 13 threads per inch is fine. Class 2B is fine, right? How do you know what you need? That's where the experience comes in with your engineering, right? As you go to build, what's the forces these holes are going to need to withstand, right? And it's going to drive what size bolt and what type of threads you're going to put in there. But for us, let's just do that. And to make it fun, let's do Yeah, we won't add anything else. We could add a counter bore or something like that. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to do a tapped hole because counter bores don't make any sense on just a tapped hole usually, right? And then we'll hit OK. Right, and if you zoomed in, right, you will see that they're not really threads there, but it adds like fake threads to it, so you can tell that that is totally, you know, totally a hole. And they're for fake threads, it's just a shadow, right? It's actually, they do a pretty good job of displaying that to where it looks real, right? Now, the real power of the hole command, right, is twofold, all right? One, we did not have to go to a table on the internet to find what the size hole needs to be for a 1/2 inch, 13 threads per inch screw, right? It will automatically size it properly and you don't have to think about it. All you got to think about as the designer is what size screw do I need to put into it. That is powerful, all right? Before this happened, you don't know how many times I had to refer to a table to figure that out. The other thing is if you go over to your drawing, right, your holes are going to automatically show up, right? But now if I say, hey, dimension, and I click that hole, right, it is going to, well, I thought, oh, there we go. I'll do that again because I forgot, right? We're going to click hole and thread, right, so that we have a hole, right, and I click on it. It is going to go find what it is. I'm going to do it down here so it fits, right? Hole and thread, click on the hole. It finds what you set up. Come on. Right? So we'll grab hole and thread, right? We'll click the major diameter, right? And then that will show, we'll have that pop up there. It's pulling in all the information that you just entered, right? So you don't have to go in, have to find the depth symbol, right? Don't have to remember that you chose 2B. It pulls it all in automatically. The only thing that we do have to do is, how many holes do we have? We got 2 of them, right? So I need to double click this, right? And then before all this is the part where it's pulling the dimension. We're going to say 2 and then a capital X, right, and a space, right? And then that's going to say, hey, I got 2 of these, right, and they are this, right? And then you'll go to that. And then what's the other thing we need to add because it's a hole? I got to add the center mark, right? And whenever I do the center mark, I'm going to come down and do the center line, right? And then what's the other thing I got to do dimensionally? I've sized it, but what else do I got to do? I have to locate it. All right, so this is 0.75 up, right? And don't want to do that one. I want to do this one, so my extension line doesn't go all the way through, right? And then, you know, I put it on this side so my extension lines wouldn't go all the way through. I think that's probably a better use of that. And so then that is fully defined. I might pull this over just a hair, click on the little green dot, just make it a little bit neater, and that's it. That's the hole command.